were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still
The history of the lands that became the United States began with the arrival of the first people in America around 15,000 BC. The United States was founded on a set of beliefs and a series of events that led to the creation of the U.S. government, including the first Americans. The Clovis people were the first North Americans traveling to the area through a corridor that opened between ice sheets. The European colonization, the Vikings, were the first Europeans to visit North America, with Eric the Red establishing the first Viking colony on Greenland. The English established the first lasting settlement in Jamestown, Virginia in 1607. The Pilgrims settled in Plymouth, Massachusetts in 1621, and the Puritans established a larger colony in Massachusetts Bay in 1630. The Declaration of Independence. On July 4th, 1776, the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence, which announced the American colonies' separation from Great Britain. Thomas Jefferson drafted the document. The Constitution. The Constitutional Convention adopted the Constitution of the United States on September 17th, 1787. The Constitution established the foundation of the U.S. government. The Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights, along with the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, continues to secure the rights of American citizens. The Palayo Indians migrated across the Bering Land Bridge more than 12,000 years ago and formed various civilizations and societies. British colonization led to the first settlement of the 13 colonies in Virginia in 1607, with the beginning of the forced migration of enslaved Africans following soon after. October 12th, 1492, is of enormous significance in Western history. It is the day when explorer Christopher Columbus completed his journey across the Atlantic and landed in the New World. What Columbus actually reached on that October day was an island he named San Salvador that is now part of the Bahamas. Columbus believed he had found a new route to India and described the peoples he met as Indians. No matter, his momentous discovery launched European exploration and colonization of the American continents. However, America is named after Amerigo Vespucci, the Italian explorer who set forth the then revolutionary concept that the lands that Christopher Columbus sailed to in 1492 were part of a separate continent. A map created in 1507 by Martin Waldseemüller was the first to depict this new continent with the name America, a Latinized version of Americo. What were the Americas like in 1491, before Columbus landed? Our founding myths suggest the hemisphere was sparsely populated, mostly by nomadic tribes living lightly on the land, and that the land was, for the most part, a vast wilderness. For more than 350 years, the map was housed in a 16th century castle in Wolfegg in southern Germany. The introduction to Waldseemüller's Cosmographie actually contains the first suggestion that the area of Columbus's discovery be named America in honor of Vespucci, who recognized that a new world, the so-called fourth part of the world, had been reached through Columbus's voyage. Before that time, there was no name that collectively identified the Western Hemisphere. The earliest Spanish explorers referred to the area as the Indies, believing, as Columbus did, that it was a part of Eastern Asia. Spain and Portugal were the first two European nations to colonize anywhere within the New World. Spain focused on what is now Central America, Florida, and into the central United States. The Portuguese occupied what is now known as the country of Brazil. The first Americans were not who we thought they were. For decades, we thought the first humans to arrive in the Americas came across the Bering Land Bridge 13,000 years ago. Now, new evidence is changing that picture. During the last ice age, humans ventured into two vast and completely unknown continents, North and South America. For nearly a century, researchers thought they knew how this wild journey occurred. The first people to cross the Bering Land Bridge, a massive swath of land that connected Asia with North America when the sea levels were lower, were the Clovis, who made the journey shortly before 13,000 years ago. According to the Clovis first theory, every indigenous person in the Americas could be traced to this single inland migration, said Lauren Davis, a professor of anthropology at Oregon State University. But in recent decades, several discoveries have revealed that humans first reached the so-called New World thousands of years before we initially thought, and probably didn't get there by an inland route. So, who were the first Americans and how did they arrive? Genetic studies suggest that the first people to arrive in the Americas descend from an ancestral group of ancient North Siberians and East Asians that mingled around 20,000 years ago. They crossed the Bering Land Bridge sometime between then and 15,500 years ago, said David Meltzer, an archaeologist and professor of prehistory in the Department of Anthropology at Southern Methodist University in Dallas, and author of the book First Peoples in a New World, second edition. But some archaeologist sites hint that people may have reached the Americas far earlier than that. For instance, there are fossilized human footprints in the White Sands National Park in New Mexico that may date to 21,000 to 23,000 years ago. That would mean humans arrived in North America during the last glacial maximum, which occurred between about 26,500 to 19,000 years ago, when ice sheets covered much of what is now Alaska, Canada, and the northern United States. The first Amerindian natives are postulated to have come from Asia through the Bering Land Bridge between 30,000 through 12,000 years before the present. These conclusions have been based on cultural, morphological, and genetic similarities between American and Asian populations. Both Siberia and Mongolia have been put forward as the most likely places of origin in Asia. The United States was not founded on a single religion, but rather was influenced by a variety of Christian and other beliefs. The founding fathers were influenced by Christian morals, truths, and ideas. The Declaration of Independence states that all men are created equal, and the president takes the oath of office while resting a hand on the Bible. In the United States, the federal Constitution does not make a reference to God as such, although it uses the formula the year of our Lord in Article 7. In a recent letter to the editor, Walt Hill of Petersburg said, "The Christian right keeps maintaining that we are a Christian country solely on the fact there is a large percentage of Christians in this country. Just because certain documents were signed in the year of our Lord does not prove that the word God is in the Constitution, or that we are a Christian country in accordance with this Constitution." The opposing view, in the words of Joel F. Hansen, author of In the Year of Our Lord, is as follows. Yes, Article 7 of the U.S. Constitution does acknowledge Jesus Christ as the Lord of this land, and it acknowledges him as our Lord. Well, who is the our referring to? It can be none other than those referred to in the preamble, which states, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." In other words, Jesus Christ is the Lord of the people of the United States by the very words of the Constitution itself. The United States of America has engaged in several military conflicts, of which only 11 have been formally declared as wars by the U.S. Congress. The other types of military engagements have included military combat authorized by Congress without a formal declaration of war, or authorized by the United Nations Security Council resolutions and funded by Congress. Do you think that America is really a civil and humane nation, the land of the free and the home of the brave? From slavery, civil war, the massive criminal mafia empires, a police industrial privatized complex with more than 1.9 million of incarcerated citizens. Gun violence in America is the 28th highest worldwide. Police act like gangs, emptying their guns on unarmed people, mostly of color. The far-right racist groups are exploding. The President of the United States is now a convicted felon. So ask yourself, is America the land of opportunity? They do not want no more immigration. People need to sit back and take a long look at themselves. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope you enjoyed this educational broadcast. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.